I thought there was a storm coming.
This is the beginning of a new day.
This is the reason we work in the summertime.
Just get that urge to get back on the field for the game, dude.
Every day is a blessing to get out there because you never know when your last play is.
God has given me this day to use as I will.
Touchdown, Alabama!
You got to step up and take your role and do what you got to do.
Touchdown, Auburn!
I want it to be gain, not loss.
The chip on my shoulder gets bigger every day.
Good, not evil.
Your leaders really got to step up and answer the bell.
Success, not failure.
You know what you want? What are you willing to do it?
This is the WIAT Red Zone, brought to you by Pepsi.
The Georgia Dome in downtown Atlanta today at 2:30 here on WIAT 42. It's the Auburn Tigers starting the 2015 season, a date with the Louisville Cardinals and a guy they know all too well, Bobby Petrino.
And we're outside the Georgia Dome here. Tiger fans and Cardinal fans are lining up just hours before kickoff to get ready for this big season opener between Auburn and Louisville. The fans are out in force. This is a sellout game. It is going to be an exciting one.
And in Arlington, Texas, a little later on this evening at 7 o'clock, it's the Alabama Crimson Tide kickstarting their 2015 campaign with number 20 Wisconsin at AT&T Stadium. We'll check in with the third member of our crew, Chris Wrinkle, here in just a bit. But first of all, here we are. Glad to have you with us, Chris Brees and Lauren Sisler, on the first Red Zone pregame show. Going to be a fantastic year. We got a lot going on this weekend. Everyone behind us in Atlanta waiting to get into this dome, and there's one man every Auburn fan is waiting to see. That's their new defensive coordinator.
Will Muschamp, indeed. And this is a day that fans have been waiting for. They want to erase that January 1st loss in the Outback Bowl. And it starts with the defense here. Auburn is trying to resurrect this defense under Will Muschamp. Muschamp has spent 5 total years in his coaching career as a defensive coordinator in the SEC. 4 of those years, he has put his defense in the top 10 nationally. That's what the Auburn players like to call bringing the boom, and they're hoping Muschamp can be the savior on the Plains. Now, his defenses are notoriously stout, but here in this game today, since it is his first one, he does not care if Louisville scores 7 points or 70, as long as they get the result they want.
I just want to win. It's all about winning. It's nothing about. There is no barometer we're looking for. Let's just do what we need to do to win the game. And I think any coach would say the same thing. Let's just do what we need to do to win the game. And that's what we need to do.
Best players is linebacker Casanova McKenzie, the team's leading tackler the last 2 years, but he's not even listed as a starter. Don't take that as bad news. Take it as good news because it shows how deep this linebacking core is. McKenzie and Chris Frost should be dynamic in the middle of that defense.
You know, the great thing about what Will does is competition every day. And anytime you have competition, it brings out the best in everybody. The thing about it, we do have information from the older guys because they played a lot of football. But at the same time, they're learning a new defense. And, you know, so like I said, you'll see multiple guys this first game.
Now, competition breeds success. That's something Auburn has not had on defense the last 5 years, and Lauren, this stat proves it.
Yeah, look at these glaring numbers here over the past decade. Auburn had never given up more than 5,000 yards, and that is in school history until 2010, and since then you can see that number has been on the rise in a negative way. Now, I had the chance to sit down and talk with Louisville offensive coordinator Garrett McGee, who told me coaching against a Will Muschamp defense is a real challenge because of its multiple structure. We'll hear from him later on in the show, but now it's time to head to the Big D, and yes, Chris, I mean Dallas.
The Alabama Crimson Tide, they think they have national title inspirations, and they've got a true test. Number 20, Wisconsin, a team who's notoriously been good at running the football. That's where we find our Chris Wrinkle live in Arlington, Texas. Hey, Chris.
Hey guys, how's it going? It is a hot one.
The game. Wisconsin's great at running the football, but the Auburn Tigers are too, because every single year it seems like they've got at least one guy who's a stud back there.
Yeah, and you look at the last 2 years. In 2013, they produced Trey Mason 1,000 yards plus, and then last year was Cameron Artis-Payne in 2014. So the question is, what does 2015 bring? And I got to ask you, do you smell what the Rock is cooking? I know.
Rock Thomas.
I just threw it down. Rock Thomas, that is. Yeah, I'm talking about Rock Thomas, Auburn's stud running back, who got the nod as Auburn's starter in today's game. What does this mean for the Tigers' run game production? We'll break it all down coming up later in the show.
Kickoff less than 2 hours away on the Red Zone pregame show. Stay with us. We will be right back from Atlanta, Georgia.
Video recording devices, selfie sticks, and laser.
Welcome back to the WIAT 42 Red Zone here in Atlanta, the Georgia Dome behind us. Right in front of us, though, construction of the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which will also be a dome. They've made a lot of progress here since we were here for the SEC Championship game back in December.
But hey, Auburn's going to miss this place because look how good their recent history is at the Georgia Dome. Only loss was to Clemson to start 2012. They have 2 SEC title wins in the last 5 years. Could today's game propel them to another one? And another reason why they love this place, it's inside. It's a nice day out, but you don't ever got to worry about weather, which takes us back to Birmingham to a guy, I guess they can call you Teddy Touchdown.
Teddy Touchdown!
Never heard that one before, but I guess any touchdown is a good one, especially today, right? As we talk about our weather forecast, pretty easy.
Hey, thanks, Ted. You know, me personally, I like this kind of weather. I like it warm when it starts to get a little cold and crisp outside. That's the real football weather. Now, Auburn released its depth chart earlier this week, and beside a lot of names was the word or. Of course, Gus Malzahn said not to focus on or so much. However, at running back, there is no or. It's Rock Thomas.
There's no or. It is Rock Thomas, but a lot of guys are going to see the field. They chose Rock Thomas because he's been around for a year. Yeah, he had some speed bumps last year, experience as a freshman. Growing pains, yeah, like anyone would, but the coaches felt more comfortable with him because he knows the offense inside and out.
We really still don't have a starter, but Rock's earned the right to go out there first. He's had a great camp. We feel good about Peyton. We feel good about Javon. And to be honest with you, we feel good about Carry-On. So they'll all get chances, and we'll just it'll be a by-field situation, and we'll learn about our guys pretty quick, I think.
And we may not know who's going to be the running back until they play a game, and something similar is going to go on with the Alabama Crimson Tide in a quarterback situation.
Absolutely, and after the break, we're going to head out to the Jerry World, get some more perspective on Alabama's season opener with Wisconsin. You're watching the WIAT 42 Red Zone here on CBS.
It seems like it's only Alabama and Louisville with the quarterback questions nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Bobby Petrino knows who his starting quarterback is. QB1 has already been named, but he wanted to keep it a mystery. I call it strategy. Now, taking a look at this, heading into this point in the game, no sense in making that starting quarterback before the game. And while he hopes that quarterback plays all 4 quarters, there's absolutely no guarantee here.
I mean, there's a possibility we might play more than one, but you know, you'd anticipate having one ready to go. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't play more than one.
Reggie Bonifant, Kyle Bolin, Will Gardner, and Lamar Jackson could start the game. The expectation from those on the outside looking in is that Bonifant will get the green flag. And what Louisville offensive coordinator Garrett McGee told me is that pound for pound, Bonifant is one of the best athletes on their team.
Yeah, one of the best athletes, and their coach, Bobby Petrino. Everybody knows about Bobby Petrino because remember, once upon a time, he was almost the head coach for the Auburn Tigers. Wasn't meant to be. He went to Arkansas and torched Auburn what seemed like way too many games. Petrino was in Fayetteville for 4 years, played Auburn every time being in the SEC West. And look at his numbers. 3-1 against Auburn, averaged 38 points a game, and they put up 479 yards a game. That stat alone makes Tigers fans squirm. Gotta wonder, does Petrino have Auburn's number, or is this a new defense with Will Muschamp? I spoke with the guys yesterday who were calling the game, CBS, Vern Lundquist and Gary Danielson. They're very high on Auburn, but they're also very high on this Louisville offense. They think the Cardinals are seriously going to challenge Auburn's new defense today, and for good reason. I mean, Vern Lundquist basically told me that it's not going to be a game that Auburn is going to win very easily. He likes them, but he's still got some questions for defensive coordinator Will Muschamp.
Defensively, Muschamp is going against one of the great offensive minds in all of college football. And and I think it'll be a real test. Now, we've been playing games with a Louisville quarterback, and I know Gary's of the opinion that Louisville is suspect in the offensive line.
Speaking of Gary, we talked to him too. He says Auburn, the real deal here, every bit deserving of their high preseason ranking, but he has one caution for the Tigers, and that's the very first game of the year.
I think if you're going to get Auburn, you want to get them early this year. There's more depth on this team. They're a deeper team than I think even their national championship team. Now, will they have that dynamic quarterback play? We will see. But 1 to 85, this is the best Auburn team I've seen.
And that's saying something. Now, Garrett McGee, you got to learn a whole lot about him in the last couple of weeks, didn't you?
Absolutely. I was able to travel to Louisville, get some perspective on him getting ready to go up against this Will Muschamp coach defense. I also got a chance to talk to him about his 2 years at UAB. He had time to reflect on that, what he learned as a head coach in those 2 years. My one-on-one exclusive interview with Garrett McGee when we return on the WIAT 42 Red Zone.
Well, plenty of War Eagle and Louisville fans here. 2 hours from Auburn, a great showing for Louisville. That's a 4-hour drive for them. And much like Alabama and Wisconsin, Auburn, Louisville only played one time in history. That was 1974. Auburn won the game 16-3. Ironically, played at Legion Field in Birmingham. 25,000 people at the game. That's the smallest Auburn attendance in the last 60 years. Now, Louisville offensive coordinator Garrett McGee knows all about Legion Field because he used to be the coach at UAB for 2 years. Lauren Sisler caught up with him up in Louisville a couple of weeks ago, talked about his time at UAB and what we can expect from the Louisville offense today.
You spent 2 years as head coach at UAB before joining Bobby Petrino here at Louisville. Take me back through those last couple of years, the then and now, and reflect on that for me.
You know, I've grown a lot. Those 2 years were really good for me, just growing up, really understanding the big picture of not only just your program, but just college football and how it all works and fits together. Understanding how important it is for every aspect of your program to be clicking on the same page. I feel like I'm a very mature football coach at this point in my life.
What was your initial reaction when you learned that the football program at UAB was being reinstated?
I was excited. Not necessarily for the players, because most of the players are gone. I was excited for the citizens, the fans, the UAB fans in the city. Because, you know, I was the guy that walked around the city and, you know, all those housing projects right there by Legion Field. I would get out with my own tickets and walk through and hand those tickets out. And I knew how important that team was to those people. So when the team got shut down, there's a lot of hardcore Birmingham citizens that love that program. When you're in a state that has 2 superpower programs, there's 90 or 100,000 and 80,000 fans in 2 of those stadiums. But there's a lot of fans in Birmingham that can't necessarily afford to go to those games. And they root for UAB. And they like coming to UAB games and want to see that program win. And that's the people I was more excited for.
What ultimately led you back to Bobby Petrino?
One, you know, I trust him. Second, just the commitment to compete on this level. There's something about, you know, we're going to run out there on opening night. There's going to be 85, 90,000 passionate fans, and half of them are going to be in Cardinal Red, and the other half is going to be rooting for, you know, Auburn Tigers. And it's going to be intense. There's going to be great players all over the field. There's going to be great coaches on both sidelines. There's going to be adjustments being made, national televised audience. Just that level of competition has something to do with it also.
What stands out to you about Auburn's quarterback, Jeremy Johnson?
Well, I know Jeremy coming out of high school. Just a great basketball player first, and then as a quarterback, he's a tremendous passer. I know exactly who he is. I've seen him up close as a high school player. I think Gus does a good job. He understands the type of quarterback he has. He was at Tulsa. He was able to throw the ball around the field. Came to Auburn, had Cam Newton, was able to run the quarterback. The last couple of years with Nick Marshall, he's been able to run the quarterback and get yards. So I think his system is multiple enough that he'll know what to do with a passing quarterback.
Okay, now we take it to the other side of the football. Will Muschamp, one of the best defensive minds in college football. How do you prepare your offense for a Will Muschamp coach defense?
It's a multiple defense that forces you to understand concepts, and that's the challenge. For a coach, quarterback coach, it's a tremendous challenge. It's kind of what I've always prided myself on, is being able to get in the classroom and teach my guys the game, and all of that's going to be tested.
Get a stance first.
Big expectations for this team this season, a contender in the ACC, also possible playoff berth, all on the horizon. What is your confidence level in this team to go out there and perform and get the job done?
I think that everybody at this point believes they're a contender, you know, because everybody's still undefeated, everybody loves their team. It's just going to be about the commitment to doing things right. You know, that's how you win football games. You take care of the football. You score when you get the opportunity to score. You don't miss opportunities. Defensively, you stop the run and you tackle the ball in open space. Then you got to kick the ball really well and take care of the ball in the return game. And if you can do those things consistently and really play with a lot of passion and enthusiasm, you give yourself a chance to win any game. We have enough talent to win against anybody we're playing against. We're just going to have to really focus and concentrate for 60 straight minutes of every game, because every game is going to come down to the wire.
So Garrick McGee new to Louisville. Louisville is also new to the ACC. They were in the Big East for a long time. So Auburn's record against the ACC teams, yeah, we looked it up, pretty good. The last decade, a mixed bag. They've gone 3-3 in conference. The last two were losses, the 2013 title game to Florida State and to Clemson to start the year in 2012. Now going back to the Crimson Tide in Dallas, Texas, Chris Wrinkle live with plenty more on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris. Now we've talked offense, we've talked defense, but after the break, we're going to talk a little special teams where Alabama's kicker is trying to put the pains of last season behind him, and Alabama's punter has a unique obstacle in punting in AT&T Stadium. WIT 42 Red Zone coming back at you after the break. See what happens if a punter does hit this scoreboard. What kind of rules are built around that, guys?
Well, if a punter does hit the scoreboard, we'll have a guy named Carl Lawson chase him down, because Lord knows he's been waiting to do that for the last 2 years. He's finally back and healthy on the field for Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn sackmaster finally back after recovering from a knee injury. He sat out all of last season, and he's back up to speed. I'm talking literally and physically. In the spring, he told us he tested quicker than he did when he came in as a freshman here at Auburn. Now at 100%, he says he's ready to get back out on that field and compete.
I don't really care about all any of that stuff because I haven't really played a game in a year and I haven't proven anything. So when I get praise from doing stuff on the field, finally, that's when I'll feel good about that stuff. But other than that, I just need to get better.
Ironically, the last time Lawson made a tackle in a game was against Missouri in the SEC championship game in 2013 here at the Georgia Dome. So this guy is a take-no-prisoner guy. He's going out there. He doesn't want all the praise. He just wants to go out there and do his job.
He's hungry, and he's going to do his job, and you're going to watch him do his job on the end there. See, you make me jealous, because this is the one time I get jealous of Lauren Sisler. Coming up on the pregame show, Lauren gets to go tailgating. It's our ultimate tailgate. Stay with us on the Red Zone preview game. And we're about an hour and a half from the game, which means tailgaters are in full force. And we're trying to spot Lauren Sisler somewhere out in that tailgating party. I think she's found a couple of Auburn Tiger fans, a couple of grads who travel to a lot of these games. And Lauren Sisler, here she is with our new segment. It's our ultimate tailgate.
It's game day, and it is never too early to get the party started with the tailgate. I'm here with a lot of Auburn fans who are excited about the season opener with Louisville. John Young, the spokesperson for this particular tailgate. John, tell me what makes these guys and gals so special.
Well, everybody's showing up today. We're going to have a great time. You know, obviously, first game of the season. A lot of friends from a lot of different places. Some people are still in school. Some of us have graduated, like me, kind of old. But, you know, good friends, good times, food, drinks, football.
Why is tailgating such an important component of game day?
Because it's fun. I mean, a lot of fun. If you don't tailgate, you're probably not that fun.
What is your prediction for today?
Smackdown. Smackdown.
And what does a smackdown look like? Who do you expect to step up today and play big?
Auburn's going to score a lot of points, and Louisville's not going to score a lot of points.
Okay, the entire tailgate here with John and I. We need to give the Winn-Dixie Ultimate Tailgate a big War Eagle. Let's go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Back to you.
Yeah, everybody is hyped. That's nothing new for Auburn. Let's check out how they've done in the past with top 10 preseason rankings and then very first game into the season. For the most part, they have not disappointed. One guy buying into the hype, former Tiger kicker Al Del Greco. We had a chance to talk with him this week.
I think there's a chance for them to do very, very well. And if that magic we had back in 2013 comes back where we can make plays at the end of games when it's required, I think we have a chance to be really good and possibly national champions.
All right, Lauren's back, and she bought some gifts, and she ran into some people who are promoting a special premiere coming up on Tuesday night.
Yeah, check it out. They're called Cole Bears, and they are gummy bears. Cole Bear. I like the red ones. The red ones, the green ones. They're pretty good. Also got a few tattoos. Now, what does all this mean? It's the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. It's coming right here to CBS on weekdays. It's hard to eat, chew, do it all at the same time. 10:35, right after our newscast, weekdays on WIAT 42. Stephen Colbert. They wanted to pass out these gifts. I think that's a cute way to do it, the Colberts. And our live truck operator, Marlon Price, he's probably already had 3 bags of these.
Sugar Rush.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Now,
that tattoo, by the way, is real. And a guy who's going to be tattooing defenses all year long, and hopefully today, is Auburn's brand new quarterback, Jeremy Johnson.
Jeremy Johnson, you know, actually he got his start in the season opener last year against Arkansas. 243 yards, 2 touchdowns is how he started his career as an Auburn quarterback. So we've seen him play flashes of excellence here and there. A lot of people, they want to compare him to the 2010 National Championship quarterback Cam Newton. Similar stature, though, pound for pound, similar skill set, but perhaps the greatest similarity, the expectations that surround both quarterbacks. Johnson, though, staying focused only on what he can control.
It's all about being focused, and you know, it's great. I'm in a great position, and I know that I got a lot of high expectations, but I don't really feed into too much of it.
You know, we'll just see how it goes, but like I said, I like where he's at. You know, he's not reading the headlines. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna bet he's pretty embarrassed on some of the predictions and the highs, but he just wants to prove it.
Now, snapping the ball to Johnson this season will be someone who has to fill the void left by Remington Trophy winner Reese Dismukes. Austin Golson won the starting job in what Gus Malzahn explains was a tight competition.
It was good competition at center, which is always good. You know, Golson earned the starting job. You know, he's really done a very good job for a guy that hadn't played center before. But he's a smart guy. He's a great competitor, and he's tough.
Golson, a guy, too, that has played every position on the O-line now except for center. Let's get to the receiving end now. Duke Williams, we're talking about him, listed as a potential starter. He violated team rules and missed out on some fall camp. He's had to work his way back up the depth chart, or he's listed as a first stringer as of right now, but they got plenty of guys who are going to be able to step up on that receiving corps.
Absolutely. Now, we're not done here on the WIAT 42 Red Zone show. I know you're like these gummy bears. We've got quite a few going on here. Now, we're going to send it back to Arlington, where the Alabama tailgaters are out in force. We're going to get one more check with Chris Winkle as we preview that game that kicks off tonight at 7 o'clock. We're here on the WIAT 42 Red Zone, your home to SEC on CBS. Here are a few reminders of how badly Alabama's secondary got burned last season. What once was considered one of the top units in the country took a backseat in 2014.
Yeah, they were a powerhouse. Now, some people are calling them a pushover. The Tide are out to prove they've established their identity once again, and it was the secondary, and they have a chip on their shoulder. Let's bring in Chris Winkle back in Arlington right now at AT&T Stadium. Chris, they've been saying it all summer long. It's a chip on their shoulder. That's been their motto for fall camp.
Go on, brush your shoulder off.
Yeah, and you've really seen them work towards that.